All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to talk about a strategy that feels a little bit backwards, but is honestly one of the most powerful tools you can have: the art of just saying less than you have to. It's a simple concept, but believe me, the results are huge. Oh, you know the feeling. We've all been there, right? The words just tumble out of your mouth, and you get that instant sinking pit in your stomach. That feeling of, oh no, why did I say that? You revealed too much, you spoke out of turn. It's a terrible feeling. And that feeling is the perfect place to start our little exploration today. And here's the core idea you have to get your head around. When it comes to power, your words can actually be your biggest weakness. Every word you say is potential ammunition that someone can use against you. So real control, real power, it's not about dominating the conversation with your voice, it's about mastering the silence.
So, what makes silence so golden? Why is it so valuable? It's not some kind of magic trick. It actually boils down to a pretty simple concept, almost like a kind of psychological economics. Let's break down how the value of your words really works.
I want you to think about your words like cash. Seriously, if you're constantly just handing out words left and right, they become common, they're cheap. People start to ignore them. But if you're sparing, if you hold back, then every single word you do decide to speak is treated like it's worth a fortune. It has weight. It grabs everyone's attention. Why? Just because it's rare.
And the risks of just talking too much, they go way beyond just feeling a little bit of regret. Every word you don't need to say is a potential landmine. You think you're just being friendly and building a connection, but what you're actually doing is revealing your insecurities. You think you're brainstorming out loud, but you're actually giving away your entire game plan before you're ready. And look, the math is simple. The more you talk, the higher the odds that you're going to say something dumb that you can never, ever take back. And this, right here, is where the real psychological judo kicks in. See, our brains just can't handle a vacuum. We hate uncertainty. So when you stay quiet, other people get uncomfortable, and they rush to fill that silence themselves. They start projecting all their own anxieties, their own assumptions, their own secret fears onto you. And in the process, they end up making you look way more brilliant and strategic than you might actually be. It's incredible. Now, to really see what happens when you get this wrong, let's jump back in time for a classic cautionary tale. This is the story of a great, great hero whose number one enemy was his own mouth. Okay, so you've got this guy, Genius Coriolanus. First, he's a total rock star, a celebrated war hero in Rome. He's earned serious power through his actions. But then, he's up for a huge promotion, the position of consul. And he just can't shut up. He gets up in front of everyone and starts boasting, bragging about his wins, and even insulting the very citizens whose votes he needs. The result? Well, it was a disaster. His own words turned everyone against him, and this great hero gets himself banished from the city he fought to protect. A complete and total self-destruction, all because he talked too much. And that's the takeaway, isn't it? It doesn't matter how amazing your achievements are. A few arrogant, foolish words can completely undo years of hard work. Your speech can literally cancel out your greatest deeds. So you've got this really stark contrast. On one side, Coriolanus, who talked himself right out of power, and on the other side, well, you have a man who built an entire empire by doing the exact opposite, a man who built his power on a foundation of silence. King Louis XIV. Now let's look at the absolute master of this law in action. King Louis XIV of France, the famous Sun King, he ruled with an iron fist, and his greatest weapon wasn't his army or his spies. It was his incredible ability to just keep his mouth shut. These three little words, that's it. This was the source of his incredible power over his entire court. His ministers and nobles would come to him. They'd spend hours presenting these elaborate proposals, begging him for favors, explaining incredibly complex situations. And Louis? He'd just sit there, face like a stone, completely unreadable. And at the end of it all, he'd simply say, "I shall see," and walk out of the room. And you know what that simple non-answer did? It was devastating. It absolutely terrified his court. It drove them mad with anxiety. Did he like the plan? Did he hate it? Was he going to fire them? Nobody knew. And because nobody ever knew where he stood, nobody could manipulate him. It also forced them to be super prepared because they were too scared to waste his time with nonsense. They only brought in their absolute best, most critical issues. Through this incredible restraint, he seemed all-knowing and in total, unshakable control. Okay, so that's all great for a 17th century king, but what about for you and me, right? How do we take this from the Palace of Versailles and bring it into your next business meeting? Let's get really practical here. I'm going to give you a few tools you can literally start using today. First up, in any negotiation, try what's called the pregnant pause. State your price or your terms and then just stop talking. The pressure of that silence is intense, and you'll be amazed how often the other person will jump in to fill it, usually by giving you what you want. Another one, if you mess up, fight that urge to over-explain yourself. A short, sincere apology is powerful. A long, rambling excuse just makes you sound weak. And finally, if someone tries to insult you, master the silent stare. Don't say a word, just look at them. It's way more intimidating than any witty comeback you could ever think of. And let's get one thing straight on that point. Sarcasm is not a power move. It's a cheap defense. It's reactive. It shows the other person that they got to you. Silence, on the other hand, that's pure offense disguised as doing nothing at all. It shows you're composed, you're in control, and it completely denies them the satisfaction of getting a reaction out of you. Now, hold on. Like any powerful tool, you can't just use it blindly all the time. There are moments when being too quiet can actually backfire. It can make you seem suspicious or like you're hiding something. So you've got to be smart and know when to strategically break this rule. And this is where things get really interesting. It's the reversal of the law. Instead of building a wall of silence, you build a wall of noise. You talk, but you talk about unimportant, trivial things. You know, the weather, sports, harmless office gossip. This actually makes you seem really open and friendly. People let their guard down around you. They don't suspect you have any deeper, hidden plans. You're basically using meaningless words as a kind of camouflage. So I'm going to leave you with this question to think about. The next time you walk into a big negotiation, a tense argument, or a really high-stakes meeting, I want you to make a conscious choice to just hold back a little, to listen more than you speak, to be intentional with every word. What do you think you might learn? What power could you gain just by saying less than necessary?